Okay, so we haven't even started, and I just can't get Brad to sit still.
I'm fidgety today.
We'll see how this goes. Hi there, I'm Julie Turner, Julieturner.ca.
Brad from BradLevelMusic.com.
And welcome to No BS Talk.
Where there will be no BS.
Because we no BS.
Yes, her in particular.
Absolutely. I get a lot of, what's the word? I don't remember the word. I'm just going to move on from that thought process.
That's a good idea.
So, anyway, speaking of thought processes.
What are we talking about?
We have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
We have questions from you guys, so thank you so very much. And some questions that we have, I guess, ourselves.
There's always questions.
Yes, we have questions. So we've got a little bag of tricks over here, and we're going to draw a question. And literally, Brad's going to read the question, and then I'm going to do my best to answer the question. Really right off the cuff. So hopefully the answer doesn't have to be, well, I'm not sure. So we'll try. We'll see. So
getting right to it.
Drum roll, please.
Getting right to it.
Absolutely.
Am I picking today?
You are picking today.
It was your turn to pick.
Who knows? Who knows
who's
who's
keeping track?
Yeah, if you guys are keeping track out there, then good luck with you, for you, to you.
It is.
Okay. Ooh, you know what's so funny? I freaking knew that one was going to be today.
You did not.
I 100% did. 100%. So funny.
Didn't stick.
So all it says on it, and is that my writing?
That is your writing.
Okay. So I don't actually write full sentences apparently, but this was actually a question from you guys. So somebody had asked us about codependent relationships. And this one may be a part 1 and part 2, because I have kind of a lot to say about this situation and about codependent relationships in general, and how we love to throw these words and titles and labels around. Now, the person that asked the question, I believe that from the technical standpoint, she is asking about a codependent relationship, but we aren't always, and I'll kind of explain that further.
Okay, so before you do that, why don't we say exactly what is codependency?
Well,
maybe we should define codependency.
No, we shouldn't. We should stop freaking labeling things.
Maybe we should not define codependency. There's
healthy relationships, there's unhealthy relationships. So a lot of people, they look at codependency where it's an unhealthy relationship, and one person fills the other person's needs, but in a detrimental way. That, in a very brief description, is a codependent relationship. So, for example, if you are somebody that is very demanding and overbearing, you'll find somebody that you can do that. You can be demanding and overbearing.
Are there people out there that will actually admit to being demanding and overbearing?
I don't know. I'm sure that they are. I'm sure that there are. I'm sure that we have all been demanding and overbearing at some point in our lives. And most people won't admit that, though.
Yeah, right.
So, and they'll find somebody who's a little bit more submissive, and it kind of fills that need. So that person that's submissive became that way because they had somebody in their history that was very demanding. So they almost need that direction. And this is what makes it codependent. So the submissive person is looking for somebody to give them direction. The demanding person is looking for somebody to give direction to. So now they've got this perfect, not 100% functional relationship that, looking from the outside in, we're like, are you crazy? How do you live in that relationship? And that's where I have an issue. Because it's when we look from the outside in. Now, again, that relationship and many other ones are truly codependent, truly unhealthy. However, I personally believe, and I'm going to let Brad talk any second now.
No, I'm enjoying this.
I personally believe that throughout our lives, we have many different relationships. They fill many different needs. And I, for one, have had relationships that to the outside look crazy and destructive. And I'll give an example. I had a partner at one point in time, like a romantic partner, that I very much took care of, and it was almost like this is going to sound a little bit twisted, but it was almost like I took care of him like I was his parent. I made sure that he did things. I made sure he arrived places on time. Like it was kind of ridiculous. But at the time, it filled a maternal instinct in me, which is why I gravitated to being with him. It wasn't a long-term relationship. We're not together today. So was that horribly destructive? No, it wasn't, because it filled a need in both of us at that point in time.
At the time.
Yeah, and now we've both moved on. Not an ideal relationship, but not the end of the world either. So does that make sense? Like,
No,
do you
it totally
understand
makes
why
sense.
I have a problem with labeling and saying this is the box where codependency lives? Because I think we like to label things too much.
But there gets to be a point where, where it's troublesome, like you walked away from that relationship or, however it's separated.
For sure.
And it was like, okay, that's
I ran
the way
screaming.
it was at that time, right? We all do. But at some points you get in relationships where that particular thing, somebody starts feeling like, I don't want this anymore, and they don't get out. And then
Right.
it starts to become toxic.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then there might be other factors involved,
Yes.
not just personalities. There might be
Abuse
or
or
any sort of, all of those things.
Yeah.
And now you're talking what's going from what I need right now to a toxic situation. And I myself, and I've told you this before, I could almost say in my mind, right, that I was almost addicted to negative self-talk.
Right.
And you've talked about that too. So you get somebody who's got negative self-talk going on because they've had somebody in their past in their life, and they need somebody to tell them what to do. So I'm
Right.
talking about the submissive one, right? And then they get to a point where it's actually mentally critical.
yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's actually
Right? This is like
really good
mentally critical because they're
subtopic.
now in a situation where they don't even realize that what's happening is bad to them
Right.
and unhealthy for them.
Okay, now we need to take this back
Okay.
because the
I'm
point is
jumping forward.
The point is to answer about codependent relationships.
Right.
So, and I love what you just brought to the table because that is an awesome subcategory. Because it's called, I love to talk about self-parenting and how we get used to feeling a certain way, we get used to behaving a certain way, and when nobody's there to instill that, to force us to do that, we force ourselves. And then we're uncomfortable and we're frustrated, but we're literally doing it to ourselves. And we talk about how that person from our past is making us do this.
Right.
Sometimes they're not even literally on this earth anymore. Again, awesome topic. But today we're talking about codependency, and we're answering a question as to, can you tell me about codependency? And the really easy, not so easy answer is no. I can't actually label it for you. I can't give you, guidelines other than the fact that if you are in pain emotionally or physically, God forbid physically, but if you are in pain emotionally, you need to check in with how your relationships are. And close your eyes for, a couple minutes a day or whatever the case may be. And first and foremost, check in with your relationship with yourself. How are you treating yourself? If you're treating yourself the same way that this other person is treating you, well, good luck changing that other person's view of you. That's your view of you.
Well, you teach people how to treat you, right?
Yes. And I don't want to blame people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about blame, but we allow certain things and then they become the norm. And to change it is it's an uphill battle, but it's doable. It's
Right.
doable.
So I'm going to interject because this is obviously going to be probably a continued episode.
Yeah. A part 2, 3, 800. And I would love specific situations. I would love to get to the point. This is actually something that we can bring to the table. I would love to get to the point where people are actually maybe able to interact with us, actually have a conversation with us and say, hey, this is the situation. I would love some thought process on that.
Right.
When I work with a client, that's what I do. When I'm speaking in public, people ask me questions.
Yeah.
So to have like a little tiny synopsis about something, whether we do a live video
Yeah, we can do
or
that one day.
whatever the case may be. So, what were you going to say about
Both people out there, I'm sure, will be interested in.
Yeah, all our fan.
Anyway, let's continue this.
Okay.
Because I think that we've already gone through a lot, and I guess part of it would be is take a look at yourself, figure out how you're really feeling before it gets to a situation where it's like toxic and like very unhealthy.
Yeah, like literally take a look at your relationship with yourself. That's been eye-opening for me. The way that I have treated myself in the past, and sometimes it's the voice inside your head, but it transcends into all kinds of other areas of your life. It's not just the voice. It's literally the way that you treat yourself, the way you push yourself, the way you feed yourself, the way you... everything. That all matters. Like, just... if you don't act like you matter, whose job is it? Right, Brad? Whose job is it?
Mine.
It should be somebody's. I feel like this was a little bit serious. Sorry, not sorry, because, you know.
That's okay. It's all about opening dialogue, right?
Yeah.
And it was a legitimate question.
Absolutely.
You've got experience in this field. This is what you do. You know, you help people with these sorts of things. So I think that it's great that you're able to have some views on this. So thank you.
I absolutely have views on this. And just to speak to that, the reason I can't answer this decisively again is, you know, instead of just labeling it and putting it in a box again where codependency lives, I work one-on-one with people specifically because I don't believe that, I believe that you have a unique situation, and I'm not going to sit here and preach about things because I learned it in a book. I'm going to support you in your situation for you to get the best outcome. And I can't do that if I'm not speaking to you, and I can't do that on a video. So, yeah.
True that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you for having this sort of conversation. Thank you for listening, I guess, is more apt for this situation today. All right.
You asked.
I don't even know what that noise was. I'm a little frightened. Anyway, thank you, Brad, and thank you guys out there for the questions. Please continue to send them. We will do our best to answer them concisely so that you actually can move forward. But the best way for this person in particular to move forward is to get support. Are we good?
You're good at this.
Thank you.
Wow.
I try. All right. Thank you guys very much. Thanks, Brad. You're supposed to thank me now.
Thank you, Julie.
Seriously.
Thank you, Julie.
Awesome. Have a great day.
I thought we were done.
Yeah, so did I, and the button won't press, so we're still